Recruiter here, the headless headhunter, to review your resumes to get you ahead of your job search. The resume we have up first is a financial analyst, and what we're going to be looking for a financial analyst is not a ton. It's just going to be your degree, Microsoft Excel. So we want to see like pivot tables, macros, that kind of stuff. The more advanced Excel you can show, the better. PowerPoint, ERP, SAP, Power BI, Tableau, which I never think I'm pronouncing correctly, cross functions, multitask, deadlines. Actually, this should be cross functional. And bonus for financial modeling, CFA, CMA, CPA, senior management, and GAAP. So with the full caveat that this is an Australian resume and these are the qualifications for the US, I am going to be a little more lenient on it because there may be some differences between the US and Australia in how they hire for this role. So this is a US bent version of this, and I hope it is still accurate. But I did do a meter read of this, and it was not good. It could not find what I needed in 20 seconds, even giving them extra time considering the differences in hiring. And the big problem with this resume, if you can look at it, is there's basically just nothing here. So they said developed an Excel-based tool, which is great, using VBA, which I don't really care about, to construct and analyze investment portfolios using Solver, which I don't care about, for optimal allocation. And that's it. So Excel is good. I am looking for Excel, but I can't move you forward with just Excel. So not only do I want to see macros, pivot tables, all that good stuff, I also want to see a little bit more of this stuff. Like ERP, Power BI, Tableau, I will never pronounce that right. Developed again, Excel VBA fixed asset registry with automated SL whatever. This would not be what I'm looking for. Dashboards I might be, but usually they're not calling it like visual or whatever dashboards. They're saying specifically like Power BI or Tableau. And then you can go down here, and again, it's the same thing. I don't see data modeling. I don't see cross-functional. I only see Excel. And it's good that you have Excel, because a lot of people leave it off, and you absolutely 1,000% need the basics of Excel. Like, this is not I know everybody gets mad, like, oh, clearly X equals Y. No. If it's not on your resume, it doesn't exist. That goes for everything. That's not just software engineers. It goes for literally every single role. If it's not on your resume, it doesn't exist. And right now, there is basically nothing here. Oh, I hear Tableau. The problem, though, is this is all the way down here, and you don't tell me how you used it. Because, again, a tools used section doesn't count. You need to show me how you used it and the reason or result you used it for, which you do here, which you used VBA, which is fine. So developed an Excel-based, that was the qualification, using, which is how you did it, VBA, for optimal allocation, which was the reason you used it. So this is a good sentence. It's the only sentence that's good. Everything else isn't. I need to see something like that for here. I need to see something like that for maybe ERP, Power BI, talking to people, anything with modeling. But there's just nothing else there. And the rest of this is okay, I guess. Although they do have a flaw if they don't have months. You need to put the months. You can never leave just the year. You always need a month if it's under work experience or internships. So you need to put a month there. You need to fix the formatting a little bit. Should look closer to this. This is how I want your formatting. But again, this is not really a formatting issue. There's nothing here. I see Excel and Tableau, and at Tableau, you don't tell me how you use it, so you might as well not put it on. So remember, they need to show how you use it. This is for everybody, for software engineers, for accountants, for financial analysts. This resume format works, and this is what it's good for. Because, you need to tell me how, right? I can't just say, I did X. So this is a good sentence, right? This alone is a good sentence for a barista. Gave customers correct change by adding and subtracting cash. What is the qualification? Basic math. That is one for baristas. The reason, how did you do it? By giving them correct change, and the reason is by giving them correct change. The how and the reason as result can be the same thing. So this is a good sentence. And again, this isn't a good sentence. This is not, and they have to have those in, otherwise we can't move you forward, because the manager will be like, no, you need to tell me how. they're just lying, or they're doing X, or it's not going to be good enough. So you need to put that in. So that's what I can do for this resume. I hope they cross over into Australia. Let me know. I think I did get a person or two a job in Australia, so I think this does work. But yeah, if you all need more help, you can always join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. I go for however long I can until the recruiting job pulls me away from it. And, please like, comment, and subscribe. Helps me out, and let's go to the next resume. This is the resume of a software engineer intern. So, what we're looking for a software engineer intern in Canada, although again, these are the US qualifications, is going to be pretty basic. It's just going to be your degree because we want to know that you're still in college. We want to know a basic knowledge of your tech stack. I'm talking real basic. So, literally just like Java, Spring Boot, SQL, and cloud. That's like kind of it. But we also need to show that you have the ability to work well with others, and you can take direction and criticism. If you have that, you will get moved forward. Although you still need to apply pretty early. The faster you apply, the better your chances. So, what is this person's ratio? We do not know, but let me see if I can at least find these things in 20 seconds. So away we go. Oh, I hate all this bolding. Automated of Python is good, but I don't want his PyTesseract. It's not the Avengers. Churn prediction, no. AI assistant, AI can be beneficial. This doesn't count. Versal Rendell, I don't even see how you used it. So yeah, this, I don't see what I would need to move you forward. So how we fix this. First off, your formatting. For the love of all that is holy, use this formatting. The more you bolden the resume, the less your chances of getting an interview. I understand how counterintuitive that sounds because we only have 15 to 20 seconds. And you're like, well, if I bold it, it makes it easier, but not when you're reading it in volume. If I was reading a single resume once every 30 minutes, yes, bolding would make it better. But I don't. I read 30 resumes in 15 to 10 minutes. So please stop bolding everything. Please stop. This is a nightmare to read in the amount of time we have. So this should be one line, maybe two if you can't fit the dean's list in. This can be safely deleted. This should not be bolded. This should not be bolded. And again, it should look like this. There is a very clear reason it looks this basic and boring. Basic and boring resumes get you jobs. Flashy, fancy resumes do the opposite. They get you declined. So, now onto the bullet points, which are more important than the formatting, but you should still fix both. Automated the extraction of 140 pages of tabular data using Python and PyTesseract at an 80% accuracy, eradicating manual input for the annual cycle and delivering roughly 8 hours in time saving to enhance team productivity. I'm not looking for any of that. I'm not looking for any of that. All right? This is whatever they call themselves, a rising sophomore, which I've never heard before. In fact, is that a thing? Have I just not heard of a rising sophomore? That might be a me not hearing about it, but I've never heard that before. But it's also been a very long time since I was in school. So, but this is not what we're looking for. At no point in the meeting with the manager are they ever going to go, Lee, I am looking specifically for an intern that can automate extractions of 140 pages of tabular data using Python, PyTesseract, blah, 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 blah. They're not asking for that. They're not. No one's in an interview asking for that. No one is going to tell a recruiter to find somebody that looks like that. What we're going to find is, Lee, find a person that you believe can work well with others. They have a basic understanding of the tech that we use, and which could be anything, depending on the tech stack. Usually it's actually, for internships, it's usually a little bit agnostic, so it doesn't really matter as much, but they want to know that you have basic understanding of the fundamentals, and this does not show that. I don't know what this is. In fact, I don't know what this shows. The only thing I found that I needed was Python, but I needed more than that. I also needed SQL. I needed the library. Like, if you said, in fact, this sentence, despite how impressive it is to you, would be so much better if you just wrote, use Python, Docker, and Django along with SQL in an AWS environment to deliver, oh gosh, I don't even know how to say this, to automatically extract pages from tabular data. That would be a definitively better sentence. This means nothing. Same with this. Like, look at this. I don't care about 87.4% accuracy. No one is telling us to look for somebody with 87.4% accuracy. No one's telling us, but they, this one is okay. It's just, it doesn't have any qualifications in it. Like, if you said built a proof of concept for an AI assistant using X and Y, that would be good. And in addition, at no point in here do you show that you can work well with others. So we probably wouldn't move you forward. Like, it's so critical to show how you can work well with others for an internship resume. This might be your first real full-time position, or not full-time, time working in a corporate environment, and managers want to make sure that you're not going to be a jerk. They want to know that you have proven before that you can work in a team. And again, this is not leading the team. They're not hiring you to lead the other developers. They're hiring you specifically to teach you. So they want to know that you can follow and take direction and criticism. Once you apply for a full-time role after you graduate, you don't need to put those in, but for an internship, you absolutely do. And based on the comments I get a lot on this and Instagram, this is a very good reason for this. They want proof. You're not going to tell them, well, you don't have X, blah, 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 blah. So why would you do X? They want to make sure you're not going to be a jerk. And that's what that is. So there's really nothing in this resume that I found from here. And you know what? Maybe there's stuff further down. That's entirely possible. But because of the formatting, I could only get down to here. See, oh yeah, here's SQL, RESTful APIs, that's good. I don't care about this, but I do care about this. Yeah, your formatting is so awful that I couldn't get down in the time I had. You actually don't have, some of these are not terrible, it's just, I couldn't get there. That's the importance of formatting, is it allows me to read it faster. So, that's all I can do for this one. You need to fix both your formatting and most of your bullet points, but not all of them. Actually, let me double check. Yeah, all of them. Because ideally, a bullet point should have about 2 to 3 qualifications in it, each bullet point. So, let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a product owner, which I have never recruited for before. So, this person said they are more focused they've not gotten any interviews except for one from this resume. So this resume does not work. The only time they've ever gotten work was specifically from like knowing somebody or alternatively a contract role. So that also can be a problem, as it's very hard to switch from going to contract to full-time. Managers can sometimes think that is a red flag, which I don't personally agree with, but it's not really a fight I'm always able to win. So what we're going to be looking for is Agile 1000%. I need to see this up front and quick. This was in almost every single job, along with Jira. Those were in most every job posting. And then like, you know what, that's more industry. You can ignore that part. So industry, which in this case is going to be dependent upon the industry. So again, if you're in IT, the ones I just showed may be there. Maybe they want SaaS, maybe they want B2B, maybe they want healthcare. I need to figure out what industry you are in, and then hopefully you have the correct qualifications for that specific industry, because again, I cannot get every single industry's qualification. Then Confluence. Confluence was in quite a lot of jobs. Product delivery, product ownership, or technical product. They want to see you've done that in the past. Cross-functional was huge, along with influence internal and external stakeholders, and multitask. So let me see if I can find those in 20 seconds. We're going to start the clock and go. Okay, blah, 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 blah. No summaries. Led the delivery in a highly regular, I don't know what products that is. Collaborate with stakeholders to manage. Yeah, but you didn't influence them. You just worked with them. I need to see how you influence them. For agile development, good. Oversee UX, UI. That could be it depending on the industry. Cross-functional team is good, but you didn't tell me anything else. So, no. This actually was close. And again, I did see this. But I think a big thing here is you didn't say how you did this. You just said, I led the delivery. When I'm not asking you how you led the delivery, I'm asking how you led the delivery team and the reason and result you did so. If you don't have how and the reason or result, you cannot be moved forward. So, in addition, there wasn't the stakeholders one wasn't a good sentence, because you're not, I don't care that you collaborated with stakeholders. What does that mean? Did that mean you just sent them an email and said, hey Bob, you're a stakeholder, can you give me one thing back for my email? And they did. Cool, you collaborated. I want to see worked weekly with stakeholders and influenced them by doing X and Y, presenting data, etc., which allowed us to do X, because they don't want to know that you know who a stakeholder is. They want to know how you influence them. The influence is the big deal. If you don't show how you influenced, you don't really show how you did it. So you do have most of the rest of the qualifications, with the exception of your industry. So it's not like this is a complete garbage resume, and I'm like, awful. But it's I don't have enough stuff. I don't have enough stuff to move you forward. So I need stronger sentences with stakeholders, and I need something about, well, what you did, because I don't know what you did. I still don't know what you did. Nothing here tells me what you did. So, yeah, I don't see it. If you could just do those two things, your success rate will go way higher. In addition, no summary. No summary. You don't want a summary. Summaries are very bad. There's a small thing that I'm like looking at this. Oh, your education. Okay, yeah, your education can be at the bottom. That's fine, because yours was not as relevant to this. Is there a reason you would have a summary? Because you are specifically doing contracting work and trying to get full-time. I don't think this work history is that bad. It's not great, but from March to July. Okay, so you may want to start combining these, because I don't want you to lie, but I also don't know what you do. So part of the problem with contracting is it looks like you're a bit of a job hopper. Now, because you've been contracting, that's not the case, but they don't know that. So when you were doing this, like this project manager, this business analyst, and this business analyst, in fact, I would say specifically these two business analyst roles, were you at the same like, was this your own company, or was this through another company? Because it's beneficial to put that on. The other thing you can do is you probably want to use my other format, which would be better, which I'm still working on. So hopefully by the time this video comes out, it'll be updated in the guide, because my format doesn't super work well for contractors or high-level directors. It does okay, but it could do better, which is why I'm redoing it. So to summarize, you need better bullet points, you need better formatting, and I need this to make more sense. Maybe you even leave out some of this stuff, because it does look like you're a bit of a job hopper, and that is an immediate red flag. So probably you best suited to come on the channel or ask me some more questions in the comments below and I can answer them, but let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a data engineer. This person said they are an international student and have been applying for over 4 months without a single callback. So a couple of things. One, you wrote, before I even get to the qualifications, is you wrote to me that you have a 1 in 50 ratio, which would imply that you have sent 50 applications and gotten 1 interview per 50. But based on what you said, it sounds like you haven't gotten any. So does that mean you've only applied to 50 jobs? Because I will tell you, even if you weren't an international student, you should be applying to 50 jobs a week. Like a week for your first job. High-level managers can get away with not applying to that many because there's just not that many jobs, but you need to be applying to about 50 jobs a week. That's how much you should be doing. So if you're only applying to 50 jobs in 4 months, that is a drop in a bucket. You should be doing, what is that, like 8? I'm not mathing. You should be doing that per week. So that might already be the problem more than anything else, because especially as an international, you have a much harder time. It's going to be about 3 times as hard for you. You need to apply to 3 times as many jobs. In fact, as an international, you may have to apply to close to 75 jobs a week to 100 jobs a week just to have the same opportunities as somebody that isn't. So that's just a harsh truth, unfortunately. So first thing, I don't normally need a summary, but in your case, as you are an international, you need to explain to me how you can work with your visa. I don't know what your visa is. If you are on a TN visa, is different than an OPT, is different than an H-1B. I don't know what visa you are on. I don't know how to work with you. You're going to need to tell me up front. Unless it's an H-1B, because it's kind of the most common one. But if it's any of the other ones, you need to tell me. So this should just be like, as I am on an X visa, all you need to do is X to hire me. Then your formatting is off. So fix this. Stop. I don't need all of this. This should be one line. This should be one line as well. You can put your GPA here. I don't really care that much about the GPA there, but this should be one line with the GPA. This should be one line with the GPA. I guess you can put it there. It's not a huge deal. But I don't need coursework, and none of things should be bolded. Then down here, again, no bolding. Stop bolding. Bolding makes it worse. Stop bolding everything. I beg of you. When you're trying to read resumes in volume, bolding makes it worse. When you're reading a resume by itself, bolding is easier, but we don't get to do that. We have to do it in volume. There are 40 resumes before you and 40 resumes ahead of you. So, on to what we actually need. Python, ETL, data pipeline, Scala, data, algorithms, SDLC, SQL, big data, such as like Spark, cloud, warehousing, and, which everybody seems to forget, the ability to manage and communicate data warehouse plans to a non-technical person. This should, in fact, say to non-technical audience. So, or person, stakeholders, whatever. So, let's see. All right, again, nothing here counts. Automated ingestion of multi-source data by designing 15 modular ETLs, good. In Python, Airflow, retry login dynamics, and data, good. So here's the thing. This is not a terrible first bullet point. I'm not the biggest fan because it's not really descriptive of the overall job, but it still can work. The problem is no one hires us to find 40% and shorten reconciliation time by 25%. Nobody does that. It's just not how it works. This part can be deleted. It doesn't matter. Optimize Snowflake pipelines using clustering. Again, there's nothing here I need, so this is irrelevant. Again, I don't think CI/CD is needed. Or GitHub. So I don't think there's anything here. Python, you already stated, so you don't need to state it again here. Yeah, again, nothing. And then agile sprints using Jira according to engineers PM. So this one actually is okay, but again, I don't care about this resolution stuff. No, I hate this meta of using percentages because it just makes it worse and harder to read. It absolutely always makes it harder to read. I don't know who thought this up, but I want to go to them back in time to when they were about to do it and then start crying in front of them to tell them how horrible it is and it makes it worse. Python, good. SQL, good. So again, it's okay to... You don't want to double up with the same qualifications in the same role, but it is good to have those qualifications in your other roles. So this is why Python here doesn't matter because they already mentioned it here, but Python and SQL here are very good. There's A/B testing. Yeah, there's like nothing. Oh, this one is okay. I want a little bit more about this, but this is okay. Power BI dashboards. No. Yeah, so you don't have enough. And again, it's maybe if I dug super deep, I'd be able to find it, but I don't think most recruiters are going to get past here. Primarily because of your formatting. Your formatting is so hard that we're not going to get it. Like the ETL, I may not have gotten to. In fact, where was the ETL? Here, ETL. What was it here that you mentioned that I didn't even get? No, I think it was SQL. It's possible they may not get to this part. So you need to fix the formatting. You need to make this easier to read. And remember, a layman is reading your resume. In fact, the manager might be the layman too. You don't know what they know. Don't assume they know what you know. That's like a big thing in resume writing. So yeah, it's not... Here's the thing. This is not like the worst resume ever, but you're an international. Your resume has to be... normally you need about 75% to move forward. You're going to need about like 90%, and I don't see enough of it. So I would need to see Python, which I did here, and SQL here. Then you can have it here as well. I need to see it in basically everything, but I don't see any big data. I don't see the cloud. Oh, here it is, AWS, way at the bottom. I don't think they're going to get down to that part. Was there AWS here? No, I don't know. And I don't see how you manage and communicate data to, again, it doesn't have to be warehouse plans. Data plans to a non-technical audience. You almost did it. Where even was it? I don't even know where I could find it. Here. This part is okay. I just want a little bit like, not bug resolution time. Just say which resulted in reduced bug resolution time. So that's all you need to say. All right. So that's all I can do on this one. Because again, there's like, it's an okay resume. It's not okay. It's not good. It's like 50% of what I need, but you need to have 90 based on what you're looking for, which sucks. No argument there, but that's just unfortunately how it works. So let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of an applications engineer. And I will be perfectly honest with you, I have never recruited for an applications engineer, and this is in Canada, so there's double stuff outside of my domain. So what I was able to find was these qualifications. They may not be 100% correct. So I'm hoping to at least find one or two, but it does very much look like this is broken down into separate industries. And like there's an electrical engineering version of an applications engineer, and there's like a DevOps Salesforce version of an engineer, an applications engineer. So industry is going to matter for this a lot more than almost anything else. So what I'm going to be looking for in an applications engineer is CAD. I was in a lot of them. Industry, product lifecycle management, BSEE, which I don't even know what that is, SolidWorks, Microsoft Office Suites, which that was actually in the most. Microsoft Office Suites was in the most amount of those roles. Any of these, so again, coding languages, a valid driver's license, and again, because you are in Canada, bilingual in English and French is a huge plus. So hopefully this is close to correct for what you're looking for. Again, I would love for this person to come on and they can find it directly. So I'm not going to do a 20 seconds of this because I'm not confident enough. I know enough about this industry to do that, but let's see. So generated over, okay, and equipment, spare parts by downloading design fluid handling systems, AutoCAD, good. Pumps, tank, mixture, client dosing rates. Okay, so this is a little too technical, but I did like this. And here's the thing. I don't care about generated the equipment because at no point are any of the roles that I looked at asking that you generated money. If you're doing a sales role, they want to know that you generated amount. If you're doing a manager role, maybe. But for most roles that are like this, they don't care that they want you to, but they don't care during the resume, right? Like generated money. No one of them said like you must have generated $5 million to move forward. None of them say that. I mean, I do like the fluid handling systems in AutoCAD, sizing pumps, tanks, and mixtures. This is good. I just wish it was a little more for the layman, and it's a little tough to read, so please use this. Develop detailed proposals and RA-focused reports using Excel. Good. CRM, again, not on the list, but as I was having trouble finding that might be correct. To track client ratios, support sales, come to reports, leading contract, and long-term OPEX. OPEX could be a qualification. Generated into monthly transition from the FCA PIDs, performing estimate vendor prices, cutting bid cycles, and boosting. Okay, so I think in general, my big issue with this is written with a high technical knowledge basis in mind. I flat out tell you, I have not recruited for this role. If I did, I would do a lot of research on it, but I've never done this type of role before. But the person who's recruiting for it might also have that amount of experience. We might have had similar experience. It's possible they say, hey, Bob, here's your new requisition, applications engineer in Canada, go. And they're like, what does that do? And it's like, we can't let you, manager's too busy to talk to. And they're like, okay. So this was written too technically. I want you to lower the amount of technical stuff on here. Not the technical qualifications, but just how easy it is to understand to somebody not as into the tech. Because every resume should be understandable to a 12-year-old. If a 12-year-old with no technical knowledge can understand your resume on a very basic level, your resume is passed. But, develop detailed proposals and R&I focused reports using Excel and CRM to track interactions, support sales, converting 4 to 6 leads into contracts by handling long-term OPEX savings, generated 8 to 10 monthly quotations by PFDs and PIIDs, performing cost integration. It's a little too technical. So like I said, I'm not going to get harp on the qualifications on these because I couldn't directly find them, but my gut is telling me this is too technical. The fact that I don't know anything about this and I can't find it is weirdly enough apropos of why this resume is getting 100 to 1. So you need to simplify it. Also, you do need to simplify the formatting as well. Your education should be up at the top. Again, this education should be up at the top. I don't care when you graduated, though. I just need to know that you graduated, so you don't have to put when you did it, just that you graduated. So your education should be up at the top. Everybody fights me on that. Everybody else is wrong. Education should be up at the top. And you need to fix your formatting and make these bullet points a little bit easier to understand. And I would lay off too many of these metrics because I did not see them focused on sales. If it was a sales role, yeah, but I don't think this is, based on what I've seen. And none of the ones I saw basically said, how much money have you generated? That goes for everybody. Look at the actual qualifications, because this is, I'm going to make a guess, considering this is a 100 to 1 resume ratio, which is not good, and this industry doesn't seem very bad, doesn't seem very hot, but not very bad, that you should be getting about 1 in 20, just based on what I looked at. And the fact that you're not means something is wrong with your resume. So fix the formatting, look at the roles you're going for, really look, dig deep into those qualifications and just put those on. We don't need crazy stuff. It's just the basics. A resume is a basic qualification document. So let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of I don't know. I tried looking this up. I could not find it. The only thing I could find that said people analytics or research analyst were for like Workday and UKG roles, which did not seem right since that's more of an ERP developer or consultant. So I don't know what you're trying to do. And in fact, the fact that I couldn't find it was pretty bad. Because at least for the other one, I wasn't able to find a ton, but I was able to find it. But I need to be able to find your job description. I don't know these off the top of my head. I have to look them up. I know how to find them if there is a big enough sample size and your role is not broad enough. But I don't know them off the top of my head. So I don't know what the qualifications for this role are. But the problem with this is they're not able to get a position. This is also another like 100 to 1. And this resume is a nightmare to read. This is giving me a little bit of a headache looking at it. This font is way too small. I assume you did this because you wanted to fit it all into one page. Well, here's the myth about the one page resume. It doesn't matter. As long as I find what I need in this section of your resume, we're fine. You could have 1 page, you could have 2 pages, you could have 3 pages, you could have 5 or 6. And for doctoral candidates or masters with theses or research papers, you actually will have to put a little bit longer because the managers will want to look at that. So yes, the recruiter won't know what they're looking at, but that doesn't matter. The manager will be able to find those for the papers. So, and again, I've recruited a lot of PhD people before. So engineers and PhDs and master candidates are like a lot of what I've done. So I don't know what you do. Maybe it's a research assistant, but that's not what you put down. So I'm going to need you to resubmit with a better job title. And if you want to do in the comments below, you can let me know and say, hey, how is this resume? I resubmitted. I will move you up ahead with a better one. But your formatting is a nightmare. And I'm going to make an assumption that is not just the formatting, but is how you wrote this. Because the problem, and this is for somebody who has increased hires at scientific jobs. I want to be clear. I broke my metrics. I filled roles that were difficult to fill that other people had problems with. I was an above average recruiter for scientific stuff. This is my wheelhouse. And the big problem with a lot of master's and PhD candidates is your resumes are written under the assumption that they know everything you know. And even for other PhD level managers or master's level managers, they may not. Their terminology may have changed. They are hiring you partly for the research because they need your insight. But that also means they may not know what you know. And I'm going to assume that you using the effect sizes, which is conducted a meta-analysis of 54 studies, n equals 114 effect sizes to examine relations between discrete moral emotions and organizational citizenship behaviors and counterproductive work behaviors, employed Schmidt-Hunter random effects meta-analysis techniques to estimate pool effects and test moderators. Now, they may be looking for Schmidt-Hunter. They may be looking for meta-analysis, but this entire thing is a word salad. Especially, it's also very small and it's hard to directly read. So what they're usually asking for is broader than this. When you get this type of degrees, you're a very smart person. So you're trying to be like, oh, they don't want Excel. They want to know that I did, how the cell biology works. And no, that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for the basics, because you can't write this. Design and led mixed method research, that might be one, but manual coding sentiment with external moral foundation dictionary, random forest classifiers, topic modeling via LDA, using Python to analyze 3,800 Reddit posts, examining how moral foundations manifest in workplace, discourse accepting modeling via LDA, using Python to analyze Reddit posts. Like, I read the same thing because it was so hard to read. But yeah, that's probably not what they're looking for. So yes, I don't know the exact qualifications, but I have reviewed a lot of resumes like this and gotten a lot of people more interviews and higher quality hires. Is you need to broaden this. Assume they don't know who you are. You don't write this for another PhD. In the interview, that manager will have that person who's skilled in it tear you apart in picking apart your technical knowledge. That's fine. That's not where it belongs on the resume. Resumes that are written like this don't work. You need to make it broad and basic. I need you to write your resume for somebody that doesn't understand what an organizational behavior human resource management person does. That they don't even know what your bachelor's is. They say psychology and they think, oh, so you hypnotize people. That's who you have to write your resume for. And I graduated with a bachelor's in psych, and I wanted to do IO, but I didn't want to go back to school. So I know a little bit about that as well. But for scientific roles, this is a big problem with the resumes, is you overdo it. You think we understand all of this, that micro threats, low visibility, negative events. No. And it could be the technical person also doesn't know that at all. So your resume needs to be basic, it needs to be boring, and it needs to be explainable to a 12-year-old. And if you could find a 12-year-old and give them this resume, that's worrisome. How could you do that? But and they can understand it, that's good. They need to be able to understand it. And this is incomprehensible to the layman. I'm going to make a huge assumption, but I'm using my recruiting knowledge to assume that you don't have most of the qualifications they're looking for. And if you do, they are buried deep, which is exactly why you have 100 to 1. So resubmit with a better job title that I can find and with a resume that is designed for the layman. And that is all I can do for this episode. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to know where I get these, that's on twitch.com/@headlessheadhunter, twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. That is where I go over this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 o'clock until business pulls me out of it. So if you want your questions answered, you can ask there. And until next time, I'm here to get you ahead of your job search.